Trump's policy has everything to do with it supports Christian values, Christian principles. Every of his policies. Under his 4 years presidency, the Christian faith soared. Under Obama's presidency, the Christian faith diminished. There were persecutions of Christians. And there were laws passed against pastors who criticize government or politicians on the pulpit. And when Trump came in, he actually reversed those laws and allowed pastors to say whatever they wish to say, preach whatever they wish to preach. The president who, after so many presidents promised to actually do this, they could not summon the courage to do it. He's the only president who, he's the president who moved U.S. capital, U.S. embassy to Jerusalem and acknowledged Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN and this is my angle. Thank you once again for joining me on this monologue. And on this monologue today, we shall be talking about, or rather I shall be talking about something that is that I have actually talked about over time, for some time now. And there is someone I respect in the Christian faith that has brought up this issue, and that has to do with the U.S. presidential election. Now, I think the man of God is pastor. I don't know if he's a pastor or an evangelist or so. I know, but he's a man of God. But I don't really know what title to address him with. But it's Mike Bamiloye, and according to the headline, Mike Bamiloye slams divided Christian support for Trump. Okay, let's read. Let me read, then I'll come back and make my comment on this. Evangelist Mike Bamiloye, a prominent figure in the Nigerian gospel film industry and the founder of Mount Zion Faith Ministries, has voiced his discontent regarding the divisions among Christians, particularly within the United States, concerning their support for U.S. President-elect Donald Trump. Mike Bamiloye articulated this dismay through his official handle on X, pondering the reasons behind the apparent division among Christians in their endorsement of a leader he perceives to be in alignment with Christian values. That is a good point. In the Friday social media chat, Bamiloye shared a video clip in which Trump articulated his commitment to upholding moral values and his affection for Christ. Bamiloye, whose ministry is distinguished by its faith-based themes and messages, criticized Christians who found themselves at a crossroads in deciding which political party to align with. He contended that Trump's party's policies are in harmony with Christian principles. In contrast to the opposition's support for policies such as abortion, same-sex marriage, gender transitions, and the modification of children's gender identities within educational settings. Quote, what is confusing about the options? That's the question. What is confusing here between evil and good, between white and black? Nothing confusing nothing could have been confusing to Christians. The cleric asked, suggesting there shouldn't have been any confusion on who believers should support. I seriously love this, Bamiloye wrote in response to Trump's video, adding that he was shocked to see skepticism among the former president's Christian values. Before the recent election, I was so shocked that some Christians were confused about Donald Trump, he stated. Bamiloye noted that some American Christians questioned Trump's messages on faith and good values, speculating that his pro-Christian statements may be AI-generated or inauthentic. Excuse me. In the viral clip, Donald Trump acknowledged, quote, "Our country needs a savior, and our country has a savior, and that's not me. There is someone much higher than me, and that is Jesus. We just do what we have to do. Life, death, and the resurrection of Jesus, all these are enough to save the world." Without examples from his life and teachings, our miraculous founding, the Civil War, and more, none of this could have happened without Jesus Christ. This is quotation from Donald Trump. In another comment, Trump, who made a historic comeback, defeating Kamala Harris in the U.S. presidential election, stated, "Jesus Christ is the most famous person in the world. The post has garnered a barrage of mixed opinions online." I don't understand why this should garner or would garner a mixed opinion. This is the gospel truth. And this, what Pastor Bamiloye just stated here, is what I have been stating for years. Even since the era of, I remember when Obama contested 2008, when he contested for the presidency of the US. I made the same. Remember then, even so many people, including my pastor, was supportive of Obama. Was everybody were among the people who were so excited that the first time the black person will be ruling, first black man to ever rule US or whatever. And I asked my pastor, I said, "So you don't care about," because during his campaign, of course, he campaigned about abortion, that he was going to pass abortion into law. He campaigned for abortion. He campaigned for gay marriage, or gay or transgender policies, a sort of. And I asked my pastor then, I said, "So your own is just about sentiments. You are a pastor. You are a man of God. You mean you don't care about, you are just particular about his skin, that you are excited that, and you are encouraging others to be excited as well, that a black man will rule the US. So what does that benefit anybody? What does that benefit anybody? And come to even think, after 8 years, what did it benefit the blacks? Obama didn't even visit, the first black man didn't visit the only African country, I think, I don't know if it's the only African, yes, Kenya, where he came from, his country of origin, original country. For God's sake, he visited towards the end of his tenure. He didn't visit Africa. He didn't care about Africa. African countries performed worse on global sphere. In America, the same thing. Blacks, we had worse black home ownership rate. So many things that went wrong with black community. And that is just it, a sort of. So I was asking my pastor, for God's sake, I said, "So you just care about the sentiment that goes with it, but not being objective?" This is a man who is actually campaigning that he's going to start killing babies in the womb. He's going to push the policy or law that kills mothers' babies in their mothers' wombs. He's going to push for gay marriage, transgender policies. Yet you are supporting him. He couldn't give me an answer to that. Unfortunately, he did not. And that is the same problem we have with Trump. Just like what Pastor Bamiloye just said here, pointed out very perfectly. I have been wailing and gnashing and nagging over this issue, this same point, for years. Trump's policy has everything to do with it supports Christian values, Christian principles. Every of his policies. Under his 4 years presidency, the Christian faith soared. Under Obama's presidency, the Christian faith diminished. There were persecutions of Christians. And there were laws passed against pastors who criticize government or politicians on the pulpit. And when Trump came in, he actually reversed those laws and allowed pastors to say whatever they wish to say, preach whatever they wish to preach, and even supported Christians and Christianity. He was the only, he not even was, he is the only president, the first and only president that physically attended the pro-life rally, the annual pro-life rally. He, in fact, did not only attend the rally, he addressed the pro-lifers. The president who, after so many presidents promised to actually do this, they could not summon the courage to do it. He's the only president who, he's the president who moved U.S. capital, U.S. embassy to Jerusalem and acknowledged Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. I don't get it. Every of his policy then and even now has everything to do, it aligns perfectly with the Christian values, Christian principles. While the Democrat Party, I've said this earlier, everything that has to do with Democrat Party, the entire platform, there is nothing good that aligns with Christian value. Go read their manifesto, everything about their platform. They are for transgender, of children, kids, transgender for adults. They are for abortion. They are for crazy policies. So that is the problem. Yet you hear Christians voting for such person, such people, or such platform. Christian, not just Christian, pastors, overseers, voting for such. I don't get it. What the hell is going on in the Christendom? Why do we have sycophants and hypocrites in the Christendom? It is so unfortunate that we Christians are unprincipled. We are uncultured. We do not align with God. Our thoughts do not align with God's thoughts. It is so unfortunate that we claim to be Christians. We worship God in spirit and in truth. We believe in God and His Son Jesus Christ. We believe in everything that has to do with God. But when it comes to our personal feelings, we just go against God, completely against God. We go against God. We don't care. We allow personal feelings to becloud our sense of godly principles, biblical principles, divine principles. I don't get it. And people will say, Trump is a sinner. He treats women badly. He does that. He did this. He did that, or whatever. Who are you? Who am I? Am I better than him? Are you better than him in the sight of God? What matters is action. They say action speaks louder than words. He may have spoken in certain ways that does not augur well with you. I don't see any problem with that, because the way he speaks, I love it, because he's spontaneous, he's organic, he's natural, he is being himself, he's not being a politician, he's not hypocritical, he is sincere, he does what he says, he means what he says, and he says what he means. He's not the average politician. He is the most consistent politician I've ever watched or heard of or seen. Because Trump, what he's been saying for the past 40 years is what he was saying for the past 40 years are the things he did when he eventually became the president. He tried to implement all those things. How consistent can someone be? Can someone be more consistent than this? Something you've been talking about for 40 years. And when you eventually got the opportunity to lead the country, you actually implemented what you have been singing about for 40 years. Consistent, and not only consistent, he is the most sincere, most truthful politician I've ever had or seen. Everything he promised, all his promises, he kept and even did much more than what he promised during campaign. I don't know. And you just come Christian, you hear Christians coming out. Some people will say because of immigration issue, especially Nigerians who are Christian, Nigerian Christians, they are just against it because of immigration. What does that have to do? What does that have to do with God? And that is the reason why I'm supporting. I love that man because everything about him, his policies, everything about his policies are godly. They all align with godly, biblical, divine principles. And I hope and I wish Christians will come to. I do not expect any Christian to ever vote for any Democrat. Anybody contesting under the platform of Democrat Party. I do not expect that. Because again, go read the platform, what is on the platform, what they stand for, what Democrat Party stands for. And follow the candidates as well. And hear what they stand for. You will understand that you as a Christian do not belong there. You don't. You don't belong there. I hope I have spoken to someone, and this is my angle.